This is Fieldsports Channel News. Maybe it was the weight of responses from shooters, but the British government has asked for more time on its plan to ban lead ammunition. The Health and Safety Executive has requested that the timeline be extended for the final stage of its lead ammunition review in England, Wales and Scotland. The move comes following the HSE's December 2023 consultation on a possible ban. It received more than 8,000 submissions, including at least 5,000 from Basque members via the Basque website.
Thank you to the members who have supported and put in their responses. The HSE have dropped restriction proposals for air guns and target shooting with rifles, but many other disciplines remain in the sights.
DEFRA will take a less restrictive approach to licensing the release of game birds on or near special protection areas. Having driven the political equivalent of a truck through shoots that release near SPAs, DEFRA now says the shoots are likely to have fewer restrictions during the 2024-2025 season. In a letter to shoots on the 1st of February 2024, DEFRA Secretary Steve Barclay gave no details but says his department's direction of travel on pheasant and red-legged partridge release will be less burdensome than that in 2023.
Although later than hoped, this announcement is both a step in the right direction and a show of pragmatism from DEFRA, who made a mess of things last year. We're in conversation with the relevant ministers to achieve a workable licensing system that's viable for those of us who rightly value shooting.
The first Farming Britain is out. A lineup including Andy Crowe, Charlotte Ashley and host Gareth Wyn-Jones is a hit with viewers. The show looks at Welsh farmer Steve Evans' fight to keep bovine TB out of his cattle. It's got big farm machinery from the Lammer Show and Gareth goes cowboy, rounding up the wild Carnethai ponies. Farming Britain News leads on the farmer protests spreading across Europe and how British farmers are joining in. Linked below, and the team will have more from Dairy Tech 2024 in the next few days. The Ledbury Hunt is holding its Golden Button Challenge race on Saturday the 17th of February 2024. One of the most challenging hunt rides in the country, horses and jockeys race along the banks of the River Severn in the style of the old steeplechases, which ran from church steeple to church steeple. Organisers expect a good show from Irish stables this year, and for the first time the event is sponsored by online horse resource, the Equestrian Notice Board. Thanks to Fieldsports member Ed Phillipson-Stowe for the story and link to the challenge below. A new film festival celebrates fishing on the River Tweed. Held on the 1st and 2nd of February at the start of the Tweed salmon season, the two-day event in Kelso included a range of films curated by angling subscription channel Fishing TV. Screenings include Mending the Line, Paul Young Hooked on Fishing and Our Wild Salmon. Organisers say they hope it will highlight the river's fishing heritage, as well as efforts to protect such a valuable resource. Among other celebrations, fishing on the Tweed officially opened in a ceremony with pipers and the Duchess of Sutherland.
We've extended the opening by having a film festival, and that film festival equally is iconic in the sense that we've got this incredible opportunity to show, to air Mending the Line, which is starring one of our iconic Scottish actors, Brian Cox, and celebrates the use of fly fishing to help rehabilitate ex-servicemen or even indeed serving servicemen who have been affected by war.
Australian duck hunters have won an attempt to ban their sport in the state of Victoria. They successfully fought back against an internationally funded attack on duck hunting in their state. One animal rights activist told local station 9 News the decision marked the end of her organisation's productive, proactive relationship with the government. Thanks to Marco Wakim for the story. A deer cull in Canada has revealed costly mistakes made by the Trudeau government. Sydney Island near Vancouver is earmarked for forestry, but officials decided to rid the island of its non-native fallow deer by hiring a helicopter cull. The shoot in December cost the Canadian taxpayer $834,000 and killed 84 deer. Local people offered the meat from the hunt complained that eagles were already eating carcasses by the time they got to them, and that local hunters shot more than 50 deer last year at no cost to the taxpayer. It later transpired that more than 18 of those animals were native black-tailed deer. Officials told the Vancouver Sun that the native species would probably re-establish itself by swimming from other islands. Canada's Shadow Minister for Hunting, Fishing and Conservation condemns the action.
We got this bizarre scenario where the Government of Canada, in a cull effort for some deer on an island where they're not supposed to be, has actually hired sharpshooters who are using AR-15s from helicopters. And in Canada, if you have a semi-automatic rifle, you're only allowed to have 5 shots in the magazine, but these individuals were granted a special permit to use 30-round magazines to go and shoot deer in the head from helicopters in an effort to cull these deer when hunters would have done it for free.
There's no point shooting invasive species of deer just because they're invasive. That's the conclusion of research from Oxford University and Aarhus in Denmark. Published in the journal Science, the analysis compares the effect of native and introduced large mammal species from 221 studies across the world. It finds that the two groups of animals had indistinguishable effects on both the abundance and diversity of native plants. It concludes that eradicating animals on the basis that they are not native in order to protect plant species can be a flawed practice. Safari Club International has rebranded its Washington DC headquarters as a hunter's embassy. It points to the attacks on hunting from wealthy anti-hunting organisations, which have offices close to the capital, the seat of the US federal government. It says its own HQ is now an embassy, comparing pro-hunting campaigning to countries at war, both seeking the favour of the US government. And finally, police in Germany say they shot a flightless bird when it became aggressive. Police found the bird, gave chase, and when they realised it was heading for a busy road, they shot it. Initially identified as an Australian emu, the bird was subsequently identified as a South American rhea, says German news outlet Deutsche Welt. The birds are now endemic in northern Germany, as this video from the DW channel shows. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.